There are many times where I don't feel so happy and peppy and excited about life. Even though that is my personality and that's what I want out of life, sometimes I just don't have it. Because I don't feel good. I just don't feel good, and it wears on me. It wears on me. I pretty much just get burnt out. I'm like sick and tired of being sick and tired, and my inner self has this like extreme drive to like live and do life, and I'm like so excited I want to do and everything, and then it gets tired of pushing through day to day and pushing through making stuff happen when, the body is just still struggling. And so on those days where I pretty much, it's like I become hopeless. Like I just, blah. Hopelessness sets in. And I guess, like the inner drive I have, the inner belief, the inner excitement, the inner whatever that keeps me going, it just gets too tired and it loses its hope and it gets like, what is the point? Like, really, what is the point? Why are we even trying? What are we trying to get through? What is the goal? What are we trying to do? What is happening? Whether that's in my in my family, with my kids, with my relationships, with work, with my health. It just kind of all of a sudden I just become so nothing is there. And hopeless and pointless, and I'm like, what is the use? What is the use in trying to get well? And all I have to say is that if you lose hope, it's like there's no point. Like if you just don't have the hope, it's gone. Like you can't really care if you have no hope. So for me, hope is what keeps me alive. Hope is what keeps me going. And when I have days where I feel hopeless and I just get really blah and dark or just like, I can't care. I've become, I don't know, all of the big words that say you don't care. When I get like that, I have to remember that the feeling will pass eventually, because it usually does. And I usually come back to myself within a day or two, or maybe 3 or 4, or maybe 5. Sometimes it's a whole week or so, but I usually come back to myself at some point and go, whew, that was a terrible time, golly. But during that time, I do what I have to do to get through. Sometimes I just cope. Sometimes I'm like, okay, let's just pass the time. Let's watch some TV and pass the time. Because obviously we just don't feel good and we just need to get through this. We'll be okay. Other times it's like, okay, what can we do to make the body feel better? And I do everything I can to make the body feel better. I take detox things. I do detox baths and saunas and coffee enemas and juicing, and just like I do all of these wonderful things to help my body feel better. And then my mind, like I know that if my mind is messed up, that means my nutrients must be off a little bit. So like I bump up my L-tyrosine amino acid to help my neurotransmitters so my brain doesn't get stuck in the darkness. And I take tons. I up my vitamin B's and my B12s, and I do that stuff to try to help the brain, because sometimes it's not just the body. Sometimes it's the brain that's really struggling and having issues and everything. And then I have to work on my spirit. And I'm like, come on, spirit. We got to get some oomph back into us. So I listen to music, and I try to do something positive in my house or in my life, like I try to accomplish something small, you know, just to help myself go, whew, that was good, we got something done, because it's tough. I mean, you know, when it's gloomy outside and it's rainy and it's dark and you feel awful and your efforts seem ridiculous, it's hard to keep pushing through. And so it's been kind of like that for me lately. And so on times like that where I just have to do all the little things to keep me going, because I know that eventually I'll wake up one day and go, oh man, I'm glad that's over. But in the meantime, it's awful. But you have to hold on to hope. And I guess when I feel hopeless, I have hope that the hopelessness will stop soon. And that's what helps me keep going, so that I have hope that I won't feel hopeless. And because I usually come out of the hopelessness and then it's life is good again. But if you're stuck, feeling hopeless, shake things up a bit. Find a way to help yourself feel slightly better in your mind, in your body, in your spirit, something, so that you can kind of shift yourself back over. And honestly, if I had to do this life of chronic illness without my faith in God and without the meaning and purpose of being his child and living for him and being the light here on this planet, I would feel pretty darn hopeless. And I don't think I would be able to come out of the hopelessness. So that's the other thing I do, is I lean heavily on who I am and who created me, and realize that no matter what I'm going through, God can use it for good. So remember that for yourself. No matter what you're going through, God can use it. And you just got to let him, and just find a way to make it meaningful. And hold on for dear life when you're feeling down in the dark. So I love all of you, and I hope that today is not so hopeless for you, and that it is better than yesterday, because today for me is better than yesterday. And I'm moving my way back up, and it's just a little roller coaster. And but when you go down the roller coaster, it can be really frightening. So don't let the dips freak you out and make you want to jump off the roller coaster. Just be like, we can ride it, we will make it to the next up, and I will see you then at the next up, or maybe the next down, whatever comes next. So I love you. I'll see you next time.